Testimony, a Memoir, 2016, is the autobiography of Canadian musician and author Robbie Robertson, focusing on his life and career up until 1976, the year his iconic band, The Band, disbanded. The memoir explores a story marked by personal loss and musical turmoil, depicting the impact on the lives of those involved and the music that was lost, The Guardian. Born in 1943 to a Jewish father and a part Mohawk mother, Robertson grows up in the Toronto area, but frequently visits his mother's family on the Six Nations Reserve southwest of the city. It is there that his older cousin, Herb Mike, teaches him how to play guitar. His early musical influences come from the R&B and rock and roll records by DJ George Hound Dog Lorenz on the radio. When his parents separate, Robertson learns that his biological father, a Jewish professional gambler, was killed in a hit-and-run accident shortly before he was born. As a teenager, Robertson joins his first band, Little Caesar and the Consuls, and later forms the Suedes. In 1959, at just 16, he catches the eye of Canadian rockabilly pioneer Ronnie Hawkins, who invites him to join his band, the Hawks, as a member of the road crew. When the Hawks' bassist leaves, Robertson is hired to take his place. During this period, Robertson becomes close friends with Levon Helm, the band's drummer. The Hawks lineup expands to include Rick Danko, Richard Manuel, and Garth Hudson, key members who would later form the core of the band. By 1964, the Hawks grow tired of Hawkins' rockabilly style and gravitate toward blues and soul music. They rename themselves Levon and the Hawks, embarking on a national tour and recording original songs penned by Robertson. The following year, an old friend of the band, Mary Martin, suggests to Bob Dylan's manager, Albert Grossman, that the Hawks collaborate with Dylan. At the time, Dylan was one of the biggest folk stars, but he was also experimenting with a more electric sound. When Dylan requests Robertson to join his band as a guitarist, Robertson insists that the rest of the Hawks be included as well. After a September 1965 rehearsal with the full band, Dylan invites them to join him on his fall tour. Robertson and Dylan form a close friendship, often visiting New York on their days off and socializing with figures like the Beatles, Salvador Dali, and Andy Warhol. Dylan even asks Robertson to be the sole witness to his secret wedding to Sarah Lones in November 1965. During the following year's world tour, Robertson and the Hawks play a pivotal role in one of the most iconic moments of Dylan's career. During a May 17 concert in Manchester, England, Bob Dylan faced harsh backlash from disgruntled fans angered by his departure from folk music. They booed and heckled him, with one fan famously calling Dylan Judas, a moment forever captured on a bootleg recording of the show. By this point, Robertson notes that Dylan's use of amphetamines had spiraled out of control. After the concert, Robertson recalls entering Dylan's hotel room because the Beatles were outside wanting to meet him. He claims to have found Dylan barely conscious in the bathtub and saved him from drowning. In July 1966, shortly after the tour ends, Dylan is involved in a near-fatal motorcycle accident that leads him to reconsider his life, eventually retreating to a quiet domestic existence in upstate New York. Throughout much of 1967, Dylan invites the Hawks to his big pink house in the country, where they rehearse in a makeshift studio in the basement. Though the basement tapes aren't officially released until 1975, they become some of the most beloved recordings in both Dylan's and Robertson's careers. In 1968, Robertson and the Hawks released their first album as the band. Their debut, Music from Big Pink, initially struggles commercially, but gains attention when artists like Aretha Franklin and The Temptations release popular covers of The Weight, a song written by Robertson and featuring Helm on lead vocals. The following year, the group records their self-titled album, The Band, in Hollywood. Known as the Brown Album to fans, it earns near-universal acclaim from critics and peaks at number 9 on the American charts. However, this marks the high point of their career. Flush with success, the band members begin indulging in a hedonistic lifestyle of sex and drugs. Robertson claims to have avoided the worst excesses, particularly heroin, unlike his bandmates. By the time of the band's recording sessions, Robertson feels compelled to take on more of the songwriting duties as his increasingly distracted bandmates succumb to their vices. This shift leads to Robertson receiving a larger share of the songwriting royalties, creating tensions, especially with Helm, and triggering a feud that deepens into estrangement over the years. The band's final moment of glory comes in 1975 with their last ever show at San Francisco's Winterland Ballroom. Captured by Martin Scorsese in The Last Waltz, the concert features guest performances by Dylan, Ronnie Hawkins, Muddy Waters, Joni Mitchell, and Neil Young, among others. Despite the brilliance of their performance, Robertson and Helm are barely speaking by the time of the concert. Testimony offers a captivating account of a man who witnessed the evolution of rock and roll, surrounded by a cast of legendary musicians, all while navigating personal and professional conflicts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.